That's right, Evil Eye shakes up an entire tournament setting. Don't make 30% of you that have not smashed the ever-living crap out of that subscribe button. Smash it so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Top 16 at Portugal Nationals here. We have 6 cashed here running it on home. I mean, that's actually quite an impressive number here. The fact that, I mean, it's still like the top metagame contender, right? Like, if you're looking at these national results and you're seeing Cash Deer running around, you shouldn't be surprised. We also had 4 Sprite variants in here as well. Melfi appeared to be the most popular version of the deck. We also have Double Math Mech. Circular F is pretty strong still. We also only had 1 super heavy deck. I don't really know what to say about that, actually. We also had 1 branded deck. I feel like branded kind of got the shaft out of this event. And then we had Evil Eye. Yeah, that's right. Evil Eye made a top 16 appearance, and I was so excited to see that. We'll have the list here in a second. And we also have Labyrinth sporting off that it can also still kind of keep up with a lot of the things happening in the meta. Let's pass on over to those top deck lists. Alright, it's just not a video unless we have cash money, dollar bills, the deck to kind of start things off here. We're not playing Draw and Lockbirds. We actually opted for 1 Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill. We are relying on Dimension Shifters to get the game going here, and we just tucked our draws away down here in the side deck so that we could actually have access to them if need be. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. We have Econ for defensive options and Change of Heart as well. That's kind of cool. The build opted not to play any Thrust or Talents, even though, well, I mean, we did play Talents. We just didn't have Thrust or Evenly as, like, those little options we've been used to seeing down here. And we also only really played Donner Dagger for Hire as our extra deck resource. No Fossil Skull Wagon, no Ints, no Goliath that we've seen from a lot of the other builds. And, of course, we do have some Gamma action going on in here as well. Build feels pretty straightforward, honestly. I don't have anything else really too out of left field to say for this. Like I said, a lot of these builds feel very, very, very standard at this current point in time. Next up here, hey, it's Ogre. Hi, Ogre. How are you? I'm glad to see that you've decided you want to stay in here. This build's on Triple Ash, your Triple Shifter, your Triple Draw. And, of course, we do have Gammas in here. Man, it is amazing how many good hand traps you can kind of pack underneath the hood of a deck and actually have it work out. I see we also have Summon Limits in here as well for defensive options. We do have the 1 Ghost Bell. I've noticed a lot of these builds are kind of testing out, like, the 1 Ghost Bell, it feels like. I understand, like, it adds a little bit of an extra dynamic to the deck for, you know, additional negations, but it's pretty good. So we also have our good old Called by the Grave down here in the side deck. I guess this deck doesn't want to get hand trapped either. To be honest with you, I perfectly understand that. Getting hand trap while playing this deck is not a fun experience. We are relying on Goliath down here as well as a cute little option. And, hi, Baron. No Garua down here for the free draw power, actually. See, those little tech choices really make the difference out here for Labyrinth. Next up here we have Circular F. You notice anything out of left field here? I'll give you a hint. There's none of that new firewall stuff that, you know, a lot of people were very excited about. I was one of them. I'm not going to lie. I do like the fact you can play the new firewall stuff in this deck. It adds a little bit of, you know, sauce to the build, but, like, there's no firewall, Dark Fluid, Terahertz, you know, 9,000 machine down here. Now, I guess the spiciest thing you get here is the Pit Knight early, but that's really about it. The build's also not playing Induction. I think Induction's been pretty much cut at this stage, though. Induction did add a little bit of flavor to the deck in terms of, you know, like side options, but you just massively hand trap your opponent out. Also only 2 Ash. We're not even siding the other, which is fine. And then we have the additional Nibiru if we actually need to side it in. So we're on 1 in the main, 1 on the side. That's fine. And then Magic Deflector actually seeing some play here. Okay, next up here. Hi, Super Heavy Samurai. You know, all things considered, I'm happy to see that, you know, we can just play literally 70 monsters and call it a day. The main deck for these feels always very, very standard, and I'm going to continue to say that through a lot of these videos because, you know, oh boy, we're gonna put in some Fenrir's. We play our Kaiju. You know, we side our additional Kaijus down here. The Bysteel package is getting sided because this deck wants those monsters. All right, like this deck actually just like, oh hey, look, I can toggle for Bysteel value. Like, why would I not? And then, of course, this spot pops your spells and traps, and this is 100% searchable. Cyberstein at this point has literally been annexed out of the deck. Nobody wants to play it. There's a discussion point about Ninja Star Toby, but I think a majority of the people at this point in time have just agreed that you just go ahead and play it. Outside of that, I mean, these builds, it all flows together, right? How many hand traps can you pack into this deck and actually laugh at your opponent? Next up here, we have our first Sprite deck. Hi, Fallen of Argios. How are you? You know, I really wish this had Sprite in the name, but it's another level 2 that you'll get the ability to special summon, and then it goes ahead and makes sure that whatever it points to can't activate its effects. Which is actually pretty good. A little mini jamming guy. Also gets a force detach here, actually, during the opponent's turn. Go ahead and do some detaching action. And then we're playing the pony. Interesting. You figured you would test out other versions of this and do like the caddy and whatnot, but okay, we opted just for that. I think that's fine. I mean, we're playing the Melfi of the Forest here, so there's that. And then, of course, our Dark Beckoning Beast package is relatively small in this build. I guess just playing the 2 with the 1 opening of the Dark Spirits Gate kind of feels like about as much value as you want to get, but Argios here is going to get the job done for what you're going to want to see. So, okay, overall, good stuff. Next up here, our next Sprite deck. Now, this is what I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing Caddy and Penny in here, you know, the ability to make the Herald, or the Melfi, or Mary's here. Mary Melfi's. And also, this build's not playing Argios. Argios is, I think it's like kind of flavor of the month. While it does add a good dynamic to the deck, I don't think a lot of people are going to continue to explore it quite as much. I'll have to wait and see on that, though. It's just kind of what we're seeing for like early value, because I still think that Sprite needs time to kind of innovate itself here and figure out what it wants to do. Once, you know, we start to see the build kind of solidify itself and come together, I think we'll have more of an answer for that. But overall, that's how things are kind of looking here. I mean, once again, old reliable here. Like, you play your Melfi package, you get your advantage that you're, you know, used to seeing at this point in time, and you're kind of off to the races. So overall, good to see this still doing good. Next up here, wow, how many Sprite decks can you smash into a top cut here and actually have it work out? Now, this build actually opted for the Nightmare Corruptor Ibli play. Now, once again, Nightmare Corruptor Ibli handing it on over to your opponent is incredibly good. A lot of people have cut the counter card, the Lingaribo, so now because of that, you're able to punish your opponent a lot easier. And I do hope that we continue to see this card be an absolute monster as like the counterplay for this deck. I mean, how many of these other versions of this deck did you just see that weren't even caring about Nightmare Corruptor Ibli? I would honestly probably give some consideration to this, depending on what your level of play is going to be. If you're playing like on a local, you might get counterpicked a little bit easier, but especially like going in like a nationals or like a regional, just having one access copy to this, you know, really can win you a game. So kind of keep that in mind. Next up here is the Evil Eye of Selene. Yeah, this is the value of this deck. Now, what I see here is we're playing some very strong hand traps here to detour the opponent. So Gamma, we have the Ashes, the Drolls. We play 2 copies of Fenrir so that you can, you know, toggle for Fenrir value. The other big thing that catches me off guard here is we're not playing There Can Only Be One. I think that TC Boo is a really cute option for this deck, but it looks like it hasn't stuck around or aged too well for this deck, so that's kind of interesting. And we are also playing a mini Math Mech package down here. We are playing triple circular, 1 diameter and 1 sigma with 1 superfactorial. That opens up some stupid doors for what you can do. You're splashing a mini 6-card package into your deck, and you're like, all right, well, I can go ahead and OTK people, you know, if really need be. I think that really just proves how insane that this little package actually can be at the end of the day. And then we also have Labyrinth here, aka IKEA. We are sporting off 1 Keldo and 1 Mudor. We've kind of started to see this pop up a little bit more recently for options for this deck, which is kind of good. Double Ash, and we're actually playing the Gammas. I was also reading recently that a lot of people don't like Gamma in this deck, but Gamma looks like it has developed very, very, very well into this deck. Especially, you know, if your opponent, when you reveal the lady and your opponent tries to do something and you're like, well, you know, I have the Gamma, it gets you pretty far. And of course, Droll Lockbird really moving on in here, being the best utility asset that you can kind of expect out here. So what do you guys think about these lists? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.